Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I've made it out to Langdon Hills to capture another woodland just to see if there's any early autumn colours here. And I've made it out for sunrise, even though unfortunately the cloud cover is not as thick as it was forecast, and there is some breaks in the cloud, so hopefully I may well be able to get a little bit of colour coming through, but who knows, they're the conditions and you just have to work with them. But again, another woodland to explore, different location in the woodland as well, which is hopefully going to be quite nice. So let's see what I come up with. Walking along the path here at Langdon Hills, come across this lovely little scene that I didn't really notice until obviously I was looking around and sort of following one of my tips that I did on, not the previous video, but the one before, in looking in every direction when you're out in the woods to take an image. So I've come up against these pine trees, which are quite unusual for this area, but with all the twisted and gnarly branches working out really quite well. Also, what's adding to the image as well is in the background there's, I presume, a dead tree, because all the bark's come off. It's very white and very bright, and obviously picking up some of the morning light that we're getting here and adding a little bit more interest and depth to the image as well. So I've also got these gnarly branches over to the right hand side of the image and the diagonal white branch in the background over to the left hand side. So hopefully sort of bit of a contrast between the two, but obviously working out really quite well. So camera settings that I've got set up is f11, ISO 50 and 13 seconds as the exposure. And I've also focus stacked as well, even at f11. So focus on the main trunk of the pine tree that's closest to me, taking an image, and then obviously refocused onto the tree in the background as well, and again obviously taking the same image. So I'll blend those two together in Lightroom and yeah, hopefully work out really quite well. So for the next image I've quickly reacted to this light, because on the weather apps it was saying that it was going to be 100% cloud cover. Well, there isn't, and the good thing about it is it's broken on the horizon and let the sun come in and flood this area in front of me, which actually is, as we speak, improving ever still. Just set this one up quickly. See how that one goes. But working out really lovely. As you can see now, the light's actually increasing ever still, which is fantastic, isn't it? So yeah, obviously saw this scene, just walked off the main path down a little side track, and yeah, saw the light developing. I thought, I've got to try and get over there to get an image, and yeah, luckily enough another side path opened up, and here I am obviously snapping away, looking obviously through the tree line into the actual rising sun, which is absolutely amazing, isn't it? It's such a great time of day to actually be out to witness a sunrise, isn't it? But what I'm actually liking about this is there's several different combinations of images here. And obviously it's taken several, moving the tripod left and right slightly to work out the composition. But also what I've done is I've seen that there's a gap through the actual branches directly out to sort of the land beyond, which is actually lower. I'm on a little bit of a hill here, but there's a lot of layers and separation within it as well. Now on my last vlog when I was over at Danbury Common, and Lee Pelling, who is a subscriber and also a vlogger as well, so make sure you check out his channel as well. I'll put a link in the description below. he uses the EOS R, and he mentioned to me after my comment about I need obviously a longer lens to try and pick out the detail, why don't I use the crop function on the actual EOS R? Now, I didn't realise there was an actual crop function, so technically you can obviously turn it from a full frame camera into a crop sensor camera, which means that I've obviously got that little bit of extra reach on the 105 lens. So exactly what I've done for this one, I've obviously framed it up looking directly through this little hole in the tree, and obviously taken the image as well. Swapped it over to manual focus just to make sure that I've obviously got the detail where I want it. Taken a bracketed image on all of these settings, and obviously blend them together in Lightroom and Photoshop as well. But yeah, with this lovely scene in front of me, which is just this one area that's really sort of capturing the light, maybe there's a little bit more to explore as well. For the next composition, I've come up here to a composition or an image that I've taken before on this side of the slope here, looking at one of the dead oak trees, I think it is. But it's a really interesting composition. I really do like this one, and I wanted to capture it on my visit here today because it's very different for this area. As you can see, I'm not standing in a hole, I'm down the slope, and slopes in and around my part of the world are very rare. It's very flat, which is great for many types of photography, but I do like a little bit of undulation within some of the images, and this one has it because you've got a diagonal with the ground obviously leading up to the main composition of the trees. But yeah, working out really quite well. So image that I've got set up obviously on the vertical orientations, pretty much all of the images are this morning, but looking right at the tree and centering that in the middle of the image, and obviously working out really quite well. So the image that I've got set up is on f11 ISO 100, and then bracketing one stop either side, but taking those 5 bracket images as lovely helicopters going over the top. But yes, oh well. Yeah, so I've got those 5 bracket images, and hopefully working out really quite well with obviously that blend that I'm able to do with the in Lightroom and Photoshop, etc. But even at f11, what it's doing and what I'm liking about the image is it's throwing out a lot of the detail in the foreground. So your eye is going to be drawn straight through to the tree in the background, and hopefully working out really quite well. Now there is a little bit of autumn colours turning within the ferns and the bracken here, but yeah, it's a little bit of a mixed one, but still it's quite early in the autumn season for this location, but just enjoyable to be back out in a different part of the woods. with this light, it's working out really interesting this morning, so much better than it's predicted. Sometimes I do think, what is even the point looking at these weather apps? Because yeah, apparently now it's supposed to be 100% cloud cover, but well, as you can see on the trees behind me, the sun is catching the top of them. And this tree, just that one there, I think, yeah, that big one there, that pine tree, is fantastically illuminated by the sun. And I've taken a couple of images of it. Obviously I've zoomed in a little bit just because I want to look up at the tree, obviously, and want to try and get rid of the distractions of the trees left and right of it. It looks really like sort of a bit of broccoli, to be honest, but what an actually incredible image. And I think with the light obviously coming through at the angle that the light is, the angle that the tree is as well, there's dark and bright areas in the image and working out really lovely, actually, really quite nice. So obviously taking that image, I then also, as I was looking around, spun round, and behind you there's an oak tree, and took a silhouette of the oak tree with obviously the sun behind it and the lovely cloud detail as well. And with obviously the oak tree itself in complete shadow, it's obviously highlighting the sky as well, working out really quite nice. I stopped down on that one to f22, just if the sun did come through. I don't think it did, but obviously wanted to get a bit of a sun flare. Yeah, I don't think I'm obviously able to get that, but still I'm really quite happy with the image anyway, and obviously the colour of the details in the sky at the same time. But one thing I have noticed this morning, apart from the better than expected weather conditions, is how noisy it is here. Wow. It's luckily enough you've only got a faint din of the one of the main roads that's here in the distant background, but what a brilliant sound to be here in the woods and listen to all this wildlife. As I said earlier about those parrots, I'm sure they are. I have seen a couple of birds obviously flying around that are very bright green. Now I do know, and I have been many years ago, I went to Richmond Park, and near Richmond Park there is a colony of parrots, green parrots. They're not big, they're not the typical parrot that you would see or think about. They're very small birds, but I'm sure that's what they are. If I'm wrong, then I'm going to look stupid. Well, I already look stupid anyway, particularly after like the last video. But yeah, I'm sure that's what they are. But then again, it'll probably be a blackbird, to be honest. So who knows? So that concludes my shoot over here at Langdon Hills, and what a glorious morning to actually be back out in the woods. Yes, obviously didn't have all that mist, but what I did have was some fantastic light from the sun, and really unexpected. Like I said earlier, sometimes you don't really want to trust these weather apps to plan your shoot. You just kind of want to get out and work with the conditions that you've got on the ground at that time. And yeah, I could quite easily have looked at it and think 100% cloud cover, well, what's the point, stay in bed. But actually making the effort to get up and get out, come to this location I haven't been to for quite some time now, but yeah, really enjoyable shoot this morning, and hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. If you have, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment as well, so I really do enjoy those comments. And also thank you to everyone that's recently subscribed to my channel. Really appreciate all of your support, but if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And until next time, when who knows where I'll be, take care.